imagine a day being meant for joy and celebration, shattered by the unthinkable on a sunny Monday morning in the seaside town of Southport, England. A peaceful dance class honouring the music of global superstar Taylor Swift descended into a nightmare of unimaginable proportions. In a matter of minutes, a brutal knife attack left 2 young children dead and 6 others fighting for their lives, along with 2 adults in critical condition. The nation was left reeling, struggling to comprehend the sheer horror of this senseless act of violence. As the details of this tragic event began to emerge, the world watched in stunned silence, grappling with the devastating consequences. What could have driven someone to commit such a heinous crime against innocent children? How could a day filled with the joyous sounds of music and dance turn so suddenly into a scene of unimaginable carnage? In the aftermath, the community of Southport and the nation as a whole were left to confront the harsh realities of a world where even the most sacred of spaces can be shattered by the actions of a single individual. This is a story that will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact, not just on those directly affected, but on all of us who strive to create a society where children can grow and thrive without fear. Join us as we delve into the harrowing details of this tragedy, explore the rippling effects it has had on the community, and seek to understand how we can prevent such senseless acts of violence from occurring in the future. This is a story that demands our attention, our empathy, and our unwavering commitment to creating a safer world for all. It was supposed to be a joyous occasion, a chance for young dancers to celebrate their love of music and movement. On the morning of July 31st, 2023, a group of children gathered at the Heartspace Community Centre in Southport, England, eagerly anticipating a Taylor Swift-themed dance and yoga workshop. But at all did they know that their day would take a horrific turn. Around 11:50, emergency services received a flurry of calls reporting a major incident at the Heartspace. Witnesses described a scene of pure chaos. The lone assailant, armed with a knife, had entered the premises and launched a vicious attack on the unsuspecting children. It was like something out of a horror movie, recounted local business owner Colin Parry, who was one of the first to call the police. The mothers were coming here screaming. It was just unbelievable. As the news of the attack spread, the community of Southport was plunged into a state of shock and disbelief. Merseyside Police Chief Constable Serena Kennedy provided a grim update, confirming that 2 children had been killed and 9 others, including 2 adults, had been injured, with 6 of the children in critical condition. We believe that the adults who were injured were bravely trying to protect the children who were being attacked, Chief Constable Kennedy said, her voice heavy with emotion. The police quickly apprehended a 17-year-old suspect at the scene, arresting him on suspicion of murder and attempted murder, while the motive for the attack remained unclear. The Counter-Terrorism Police Northwest had offered their support, indicating the gravity of the situation. In the aftermath, the RDH Children's Hospital in Liverpool, about 20 miles from Southport, declared a major incident as they prepared to receive and treat the injured. The hospital urged parents to only bring their children to the emergency department if it was absolutely necessary, as they braced for an influx of patients. As the nation grappled with the news, King Charles Ulugai and Queen Camilla expressed their profound shock and sent their heartfelt condolences to the families and loved ones of those affected. Prime Minister Keir Starmer also responded, describing the incident as an awful and deeply shocking event that had left the whole country deeply shaken. The MP representing Southport, Patrick Hurley, echoed the sentiments of the nation, stating that he was deeply concerned about the incident and that his thoughts go out to all those affected, their loved ones, and to the entire community. As the investigation into the attack unfolded, the identities of the victims began to emerge, each with their own story and dreams that were tragically cut short. The first 2 victims to be named were 6-year-old BB King and 7-year-old Elsie Dotstancombe, both of whom succumbed due to their injuries at the scene. In a heartbreaking statement, BB's family expressed their devastation at the loss of their little girl, saying that no words could describe their grief. The third victim, 9-year-old Alice Da Silva Aguirre, passed away in the early hours of the following day, leaving her parents and loved ones in a state of unimaginable anguish. In a poignant tribute, Her parents urged her to keep smiling and dancing like you love to do our princess, adding that she would always be their princess and that no one could change that. The 8 other children who were injured in the attack ranged in age from 6 to 11 years old, and 5 of them were reported to be in critical condition, fighting for their lives. 2 adults who were believed to have been trying to protect the children were also in critical condition. The families of the victims were thrust into a nightmare, forced to confront the unthinkable and grapple with the devastating loss of their loved ones. In the days that followed, the community of Southport and the nation as a whole laid the idea to support the grieving families, offering condolences, prayers, and a glimmer of hope in the face of such profound tragedy. As the investigation into the attack progressed, the focus shifted to the 17-year-old suspect who had been arrested at the scene. While the police initially stated that the motive for the attack remained unclear, the involvement of the counter-terrorism police Northwest raised questions about the possibility of a more sinister underlying cause. The suspect, who was born in Cardiff, Wales, and had lived in a village just a few miles from Southport, was taken into custody on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. However, the police were quick to dispel rumours circulating on social media about the suspect's identity and background, clarifying that the name being shared was incorrect and that the boy was, in fact, born in Britain. In the aftermath of the attack, the community of Southport and the nation as a whole were left grappling with the devastating consequences. Vigils were held with hundreds of people gathering to mourn the victims and show their support for the families. The Alderhay Children's Hospital, which had treated many of the injured, was overwhelmed with an outpouring of support and well wishes from the public. Tragically, the tragedy did not end there. In the days that followed, a disturbing turn of events unfolded as far-right protesters hijacked a peaceful vigil, clashing violently with police and causing further chaos and heartbreak. The protesters, believed to be supporters of the English Defence League, were fueled by anger and false online rumours about the suspect's identity, leading to a confrontation that left more than 20 officers injured. Prime Minister Keir Starmer condemned the thuggery of the protesters, stating that they had hijacked what should have been a solemn moment of reflection and mourning. The Liverpool Region Mosque Network also issued a statement decrying the heinous attack and making it clear that the incident was in no way connected to the Muslim community. As the nation grappled with the aftermath of this tragedy, the focus shifted to the broader issues of knife crime and community safety. The Southport stabbing rampage was a stark reminder of the need for comprehensive solutions to address the underlying factors that contribute to such senseless acts of violence. The impact of the Southport stabbing attack extended far beyond the immediate victims and their families. The entire community of Southport, and indeed the nation as a whole, was left reeling in the aftermath of this horrific event. In the days that followed, the streets of Southport were filled with an eerie silence as residents struggled to come to terms with the unimaginable. Flowers and stuffed animals were left at the police cordon on the street where the attack had taken place as the community sought to honour the memory of the young lives lost. The organiser of the Taylor Swift-themed dance and yoga workshop, Leanne Lucas, was among the injured, and the outpouring of support for her and the other survivors was palpable. People took to social media to express their heartbreak and to offer messages of hope and healing as the community rallied together in the face of this unimaginable tragedy. The impact was felt far beyond the borders of Southport as the news of the attack spread across the nation and the world. Taylor Swift, the beloved artist whose music had brought joy to the children on that fateful day, expressed her own profound shock and grief, saying that she was completely in shock and struggling to convey her sympathies to the families affected. The British public, already grappling with the rise of knife crime in recent years, was left to confront the harsh reality that even the most innocent of spaces could be shattered by such senseless violence. The Prime Minister's visit to the crime scene, where he was jeered by some, underscored the depth of the nation's anguish and the urgent need for meaningful action to address the underlying issues. In the aftermath, the community of Southport and the nation as a whole were left to grapple with the long-lasting effects of this tragedy. The grief, the trauma, and the sense of vulnerability would linger, serving as a painful reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of creating a society where children can grow and thrive without fear. as the dust began to settle and the initial shock of the Southport stabbing attack began to subside, the focus shifted to the critical task of understanding how such a horrific event could have occurred and what steps must be taken to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The rampage in Southport was a stark reminder of the growing problem of knife crime in the United Kingdom, a crisis that has been described as a national crisis in recent years.